Today our topic is linear functions. Our learning target, how can I evaluate using function notation, and how can I express a linear function? Vocabulary, linear function, a relation that relates one input to exactly one output that creates a straight line. So straight line, we're going back to linear, which remember the word line is in linear, which means it creates that straight line. Anything that is not a straight line is not linear. So we've talked about quadratic functions. Those are not linear. They make a U-shape. And exponential functions, which make that nice upward curve. Those are also not linear. They do not make a straight line. Function notation is y equals or f of x equals. Independent variable is your input variable, which is usually x. It is independent. You can choose whatever number you want to put in for x. However, your dependent variable is the output, and that's usually y. And it's dependent because it relies on x. Whatever you put in for x will tell you what comes out for y. Evaluate. Let f of x equals 4x plus 5. So what is f of 12? Remember, if we just rewrite f of x equals 4x plus 5, and we put f of 12 below, you can see that the x and the 12 are lining up, which means after the equal sign, my x should line up with another 12. All it's telling you right here is that x equals 12. We want to know, what does y equal? We're trying to find that output variable. So then f of 12 will equal 4 times 12, which is 48 plus 5. And then 48 plus 5 equals 53. So f of 12 equals 53. What is f of negative 3? So again, we write f of x equals 4x plus 5. F of negative 3 goes below. The x is being replaced with negative 3 plus 5. Solve for f of negative 3, which equals 4 times negative 3, which is negative 12 plus 5. And then negative 12 plus 5 is negative 7. Last example, now this is the backwards one. If f of x equals 25, what is x? We do not know x. X is x. We know f of x, which remember is the same thing as y. We know that y equals 25. So if we rewrite f of x equals 4x plus 5, f of x is the same thing as y. So I say y equals 4x plus 5. I know that y equals 25, so I substitute y as 25 equals 4x plus 5, and now we're back to solving a two-step equation. Draw your railroad tracks if you need to. Undo plus 5 with a minus 5. We have 4x equals 20. Divide both sides by 4. X equals 5. Let y equal 7x plus 3. Now, if the value of x changes by 2, so we're going from 3 to 5. So first off, x is going to equal 3. Then x is going to equal 5. How much does the y value change by? So all we have to do is solve for y in both cases, and then look at the change that is happening. So first off, y equals 7x plus 3. We're putting x equals 3. So y equals 7 times 3 plus 3. Y equals 7 times 3 is 21 plus 3 would be y equals 24. So when x equals 3, y equals 24. Next, we solve the other equation, y equals 7x plus 3, but now this time x equals 5. So y equals 7 times 5 plus 3. Y equals 7 times 5 is 35 plus 3 y equals 35 plus 3, which is 38. So when x equals 5, y equals 38. Now how much did our y value change by? So we do 38 minus 24, and we get 14. Our y value changed by 14. Now, to connect it to the equation, we would look at our slope. Our slope is our rate of change, so it's telling you how much you're changing by. So our x values changed by 2. There was a gap of 2 between our x values. What is 2 times 7? 14. So all you have to do is take your change in your x, 2, and multiply by your slope, and you'll get the correct answer. So if we go to our next example, if the value of x changes by 6, from 2 to 8, how much does the y value change by? Well, I know my slope is 7. My change in my x is 6. So all I have to do is 7 times 6, which equals 42. That's how much my y values are going to change by. And if you don't believe me, plug 2 in, plug 8 in to your equation, y equals 7x plus 3, and your y values will be 42 numbers apart from each other. Writing linear functions. Linear functions, y equals mx plus b. Very important. Need to remember that. From a table, we need to find our slope, which is change in y over change in x. Remember, f of x is the same as y. So our change in y, we're adding 4 each time. Change in x is adding 2 each time. So our slope would be change in y, 4, over change in x, 2, which equals 2. That's our m, our slope. Next, we need our b, which if you recall is our y-intercept, the spot when x equals 0. So go to your table, find the spot when x equals 0, and the corresponding y value will be your b. So b equals 0. Write an equation, y equals m2 x plus b, which is 0. From a graph, to find slope, we use m equals rise over run. So between 2 points, we make that slope triangle. Rise 2, run 3. Check, are we going up the mountain or down the mountain? We are going down, which means we have a negative slope. So our slope is negative 2 over 3. Our y-intercept is where we cross the y-axis, which is right here at 5, so our b is 5. Writing our equation, y equals negative 2/3 x plus 5. A reminder for finding types of slope. We have uphill slope, which is a positive slope, so going up the mountain. Downhill, which is negative, you're going down the mountain. Horizontal lines have a slope of 0, and vertical lines have an undefined slope. I like Mr. Slope Guy for this because positive slope, you're going up the mountain. Negative slope, you're going down the mountain. When you have a vertical line, the nose right here, that U, is telling you it's undefined. And when you have a horizontal line, we've got zeros on either side. So it's a nice reminder of how to determine the type of slope we have. Lastly, properties. Now I apologize, it did not print very well, but this is just a reference sheet for you to use in class when we review. Commutative property means you can switch the order, but it only works for addition and multiplication. Associative property means you change the groups. Identity means you either add 0 or multiply by 1. Zero property means you can multiply anything by 0 to get 0. Distributive property we should all be very familiar with. You distribute the number in front of the parentheses. And then substitution. If A equals B, then A may be replaced by B. Like when x equals 7, we can replace x with the number 7. That's all the notes I have for you today. Thank you for watching this video, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel.